Oh, well, I had this slightly utopian notion that if I was going to present something as unusual, if not remarkable, as a machine making art, I should at least be there to try and explain to people, answer questions. And in fact, I spent several years when I had exhibitions, spending a great deal of time in galleries talking to people. So in the early days, I had fairly good notion of what people were thinking about. By the time I showed my little turtle running around on the ground making drawings at Documenta, that would have been, I don't remember, 80, 70 something.
71, I think.
Whatever it was,
Documenta 6.
The world at that point seemed to be divided more or less equally between people who thought that computers just adding machines, and consequently the claims I was making were obviously false. The other half, mostly made up of young people, had this romantic notion that, oh wow, it's a computer, it can do anything. In which case my claims for what my one was doing weren't even worth bothering about, because the machine could do anything. So in other words, nobody had very much of an idea of what a computer was or what it could do. Gradually the public became a little more informed. I rather enjoyed the time I spent talking to people, actually. It just got to be too tiring eventually. But by the time I did the last show like that, which was the painting machine you saw was actually alive at the Computer Museum in Boston. I did a show and it was generating work while the public was looking. It became obvious that they weren't really looking at the art at all, they were looking at the machine. And one of the reasons I stopped doing that was that I felt I was giving the wrong message. This is not interesting because it's robotic, it's interesting because it's intelligent. Yeah. Look at what it does. But what they were looking at was the fact that the thing was washing out its own cups, mixing its own colours, picking up its own brushes. But washing its own cups was what really got them. That meant it was doing housework, and that meant it was a robot. So, you know, between when I started exhibiting in the early 70s and when I finished exhibiting in the mid-90s, the audience is already fairly sophisticated. They knew about robots, they knew about machines, but the machine itself was more interesting than what the machine was doing for them. And at that point I gave it to the Computer Museum and bought myself a printer instead.